一样的。
What a difference from everybody being able to recite what you think.
这跟人家想说我们所想的是完全不一样的。
Can you imagine if all Christians were working as passionately as possible to think like and be and act like Jesus Christ, God?
我们想想，如果每一位基督徒都能够在思想、性格、行为都像主耶稣，热切的在这世上为主耶稣工作的时候，那个影响是多大？
We would change the world, wouldn't we?
我们岂不能够改变整个
The world around us and the world overseas.
在我们身边的世界，还有在海外的地方。
I work for an organization called Equip.
它的福音机构也叫
Equip is the charity division of John Maxwell's leadership company.
Equip 是有一个叫 John Maxwell 的一个也是领袖的一个机构里面的一个分支。
Our job is to go around the world and equip Christian leaders and empower Christian leaders to be everything they can as an influence for God.
到整个世界呢，装备不同的地方的基督徒领袖，使他们能够成为神所用的领袖。
And in the workshop session a little later, I will be speaking about our work in China.
在稍后的时间呢，他会在一个专题讲座里面就分享他在中国的工作。
I thought you might be interested.
大家会感兴趣。
But now I will tell you as I finish about Albania.
今天结束的时候，我们再说阿里亚之地。
I just came back from Albania 2 weeks ago.
2个星期之前刚刚从阿里亚回来。
We had 180 Christian leaders
他们有180位基督徒领袖
that met for the conference.
在一个研讨会那里一起的聚集。
One of them was a woman pastor,
有一个是个女牧师，
and she told me this story.
她跟妈讲的是个故事。
She said, my husband and I were both pastors of a new church that was growing up.
她和她的丈夫在一个在发展当中的新的教会的牧师。
And God was blessing our church.
神祝福他们的教会。
But then one of our distant relatives
他们有一个远房亲戚
killed somebody from another family.
杀了另外一个家庭的一些人。
And in Albania, there are still families that are fighting each other, enemies.
在阿尔巴尼亚的是还是有一些家族的是大家在斗争的。
So this woman said, members of that family one day came to the church as my husband finished preaching and was walking out the door.
有一天，那个家庭来到教会里面，她的丈夫闪完道出来的时候，他们
And in front of her and their 2 sons, 10 and 8, they murdered her husband.
他们在这个丈夫的孩子面前把这丈夫杀了。那个孩子只有10岁和8岁。
She said, I went through a long period of darkness.
这里面说他经历了很长时间的黑暗。
And I had to wrestle with what my role would be now.
他挣扎，他在神里面的角色是什么？
I grieved for my husband. I loved him.
他为他的丈夫被他爱他的丈夫。
My sons had no longer had a father.
他的儿子再没有爸爸。
And I began to hate the other family.
他是痛恨那个家庭。
So she went for help to a spiritual person who knew Jesus Christ, who offered to help her.
他就找一个人形的去帮助他的是沟通帮助他。
And they worked through this very issue.
他们在这个事情上面就花了很多的时间来探讨。
She realized in a new way, over a long period of time,
经过很长的时间，他有一个新的观念。
that God loved her and God loved the people who had murdered her husband.
神爱他，但是神也爱那些杀死他丈夫的人。
I must confess, I don't understand that
我们应该知道，我们
as a human being.
作为一个人，我们
Nobody can forgive and love other people who have hurt you so badly.
没有一个人能够爱一些伤害过他们这么深的人。
But she said very quietly to me,
但是这个姊妹，
I
真
can,
的跟妈说，
I can honestly say that I have forgiven and I love them.
这个女人说，我真的坦白说，我已经原谅他们，我已爱他们。
And 4 weeks ago, in Albania,
4个星期之前，在阿尔巴尼亚，
she invited the family to a meal.
她邀请这个家庭来吃一顿饭，
And she began to share her journey.
她开始分享她的经历。
She told them how she had wrestled with her hatred of these people, and now God had given her a new love even for the individual who murdered her husband.
她就说呢，她怎么样从她很恨杀死她丈夫的这些人，到现在她怎么爱这个家庭，还有杀死她丈夫的所有人。
She said since that day, the church that she is still the pastor of has grown significantly.
从她跟她丈夫开始，她到现在还是她牧养的那个教会，一直增长的很快。
There is a new spirit of God in that church.
神的灵再来，重新再来。
And they are praying for the salvation of people who used to be their enemies.
他们为到那些以前是他们的敌人的人来祷告。
How did it happen?
怎么样可以发生呢？
It took somebody to disciple a pastor.
要有人去牧养这个牧师。
My first question to her after I said, how did you do it?
妈，
When I was love and forgive.
妈问他你怎么可以爱他们？然后再问一个问题：
I said, who was the person who discipled you?
谁培训你？
She said, a woman, professional businesswoman.
他说是一个职业做生意的人。
Who taught me about God's love in a new way.
这个人教导他重新的去有一个新的观念，是怎么样去想神的爱。
Who gave me a new perspective.
他给他一个新的观念，
And who I realized I must speak God's words to.
让这个姐妹是必须说，重新的了解说，我要以神的观念。
My brothers and sisters, this morning the Holy Spirit resides in each one of you who are Christian.
弟兄姐妹，今天神的圣灵住在我们每一个基督徒那里。
And as you interact with one another, everybody should first and foremost think, how do I push each other closer to God?
当我们相冲的时候，我们第一应该要想是，我们怎么推动大家使我们更加亲近神？
How do I push my boyfriend or girlfriend closer to God?
或是我们怎么样使我们的男朋友、女朋友更加亲近神？
How do I push my husband or wife closer to God?
我们怎么样推动我们的丈夫或者妻子更加亲近神？
How do I push my co-worker closer to God?
我们怎么样可以使我们的同事、工作同事更加亲近神？
How do I push my church closer to God?
我们怎么样使我们的教会更加亲近神？
Even the Americans
包括美国人
closer to God.
更加亲近神。
These are not easy things.
这些是不容易的事。
To understand the calling of God,
去明白神的呼召，
to understand the vision that God gives to each of you.
去明白神给我们每一个人的意向。
But through the encouragement and affirmation of other people, what we call discipleship,
透过众门徒的鼓励之下，
you can grow into the fullness of God.
我们每一个人都可以在神的完全上成长。
The key word in that passage of